Some people don't understand that aspect of it. They get mad at people.
And you know what? They need to, because the world is not going to change because you're doing something.
Yeah, it's true.
That, I don't care what
But it goes back
says.
to being a vain sport. You know, it becomes. I always felt like it. Bodybuilding should be used. I mean, it's very few. I always feel like, you know, if you're under 6 foot, go for it. You know, and you got some good shape. But if you're over 6 foot, I think it's going to be really hard for you to be a bodybuilder. I do, for the most part.
Oh,
me personally. But you know, for me, as I got less serious, I shouldn't say less serious, but more aware of what bodybuilding was, I wish I would have done more videoing or more things like as I'm about to start doing now. You know, and just kind of stay in the way of people that are going to be your fans, because that stage does not mean the be all end all for anybody, for that matter. No. You're being judged by 6 people about how tight your skin is, and a water pill could just mess that up. I mean, just one little water pill, that's the whole show. Boom, you did all this work, and then boom, your whole show was ruined. All that prep, everything for that, you know, a couple minutes on stage. That doesn't just because of how much of a water pill you take doesn't define who you are. And I think a lot of people get upset. They get that inside them, that, you know, and then they get a bad placing. It's just, it doesn't define you being judged by 6 people, 8 people. I mean, whoever it is that day. It doesn't define you. It's just a show. And that's what I always tell people. It's just a show. If there's money involved, yeah, there's money involved, but don't let it ruin anything you have. That's what I tell everybody, you know, because people do get their feelings hurt. They get in their feelings really bad sometimes. I see people crying backstage, throwing things, you know, getting mad at their girlfriends getting mad at their boyfriends. It's like, it's not that serious. Yes, take it serious as far as the competition aspect goes, but don't take it to where you're going to ruin everything else in your life. That's kind of like, I always like, you know, that's a hard lesson to learn too, especially being young.
Taking a loss isn't always easy, because you feel like you failed yourself. You feel like you failed whoever supported you. You know, you put a lot of time and effort into this. But like, you know, talking to the younger guys now, when they're in their like early 20s, you know, doing things that I'm just like, hey, like, good for you. I always tell them, I go, at the end of the day, you have to understand something. I said, bodybuilding's a business.
Yeah.
I know guys that won the USAs, haven't heard from them since.
Sometimes that's all they'll do. I mean, that's probably what I'll end up doing.
Yeah.
Like if you know, I'm still planning on competing.
You know, and that's where I tell them, I was like, if you can achieve that, do something with it. Especially if you're a trainer.
Yeah.
If you're a trainer and you're winning shows, then that's really good on your resume, because then people are going to look at you and go, this guy beat all these people. I want to work with the number 1 guy. Everybody always looks at the number 1 guy and goes, I want to work with that guy.
Yeah.
You know,
or
if that's
or a physique that they like.
Yeah.
Or a physique that they like.
And that's what I tell them. Don't get so caught up in okay, I'm going to turn pro and I'm going to go here, because the money in bodybuilding isn't the same anymore. The contracts aren't the same. And I've had a lot of guys reach out to me and tell me like, hey, like, you know, how do I land a sponsorship, or how do I land this, how do I land that? I go, first of all, if you don't know how to run social media platforms as a business tool, how do you expect a company to want to sign you? Like, why would a company come over and give you $5,000? Because you're posting a picture of yourself drinking a pre-workout?
They'll do that for free. There's millions of people that are doing that for free.
Yeah.
Just because they just want to be a part of it. Or
Exactly.
they'll take like $50 or something like that, you know.
And then they get upset like, but I'm not getting more out of it. Why would you get more? You have to be a value to a company to understand, okay, you know what? This person's a value to us. They're generating cash flow to us, because if I give you product, that's still something that I paid for.
Definitely.
Whether it was $12, $15, $20, and I gave you a total of $150 a month, that's a tax write-off for me, because I'm using you as an advertisement.
100%. A lot of people don't know that.
No.
Especially if you got a $1 billion corporation, they're going to want to spend those tax write-offs properly. Even though it's money that they do have to write off, they still want to grow their business and the revenue.
Yeah.
Those write-offs the right way. So just because people will consider a tax write-off, because don't get upset when people say a sponsorship is a tax write-off. It is a business expense. So don't get upset, but no, it's just a tax write-off. No, it's a business expense, and those expenses need to be paid and utilized wisely. So yes, so I'm sorry to interrupt. I just want to touch on that, because there's some people that get mad when they say, I'm just a tax write-off.
No, it is true. Yeah. And then I point one big thing out to them, and this is where they kind of take a step back to understand that, like, okay, you're right, because I never thought about it like that because no one ever put it to them like that.
Right. You gotta bring value.
I go, a company generates business off of what? Advertisement. If I have 10 people who are like, hey, send me some clothes and some products and I'll post for you, they're going to handle all the content for me. How much is a content creator?
Right.
That's pretty expensive. Unless you get some kid straight out of college, wants to make a couple $100, you know, but then if you want high quality stuff, how much is that going to cost you?
Yeah. It depends. Yeah.
It's actually cheaper to just get a couple people, be like, hey, use this code. Here's a couple, you know, shirts and some shorts, whatever they give people, and just tag us. Make sure you tag us, and they still give you a list of things to do.
Oh yeah.
You have to do it this many times a week, this many times a month. Make sure you put on your stories, this many stories a month, and tag us in everything that you do. So you basically are creating more business for them, you know. And say, for example, you're making $200 a month off of this. The company could be generating $5,000-$10,000.
Yeah. Well, see, my thing is, it's $200 a month. Like, I look at that. Like, for someone like me, I would like, you know, what is that? Like a steak dinner for me, you know? Like, like
That's
like it's because how I like to eat. How I like to, you know.
It's a real,
Yeah.
when I go to Chick-fil-A with my family,
Right.
and they're eating, it's like $30.
Right.
When I'm eating,
Bring on the plates, baby.
it's like $80-some.
At least.
You know, and that's just one meal.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat again in 3 hours and
Right.
4 hours, and that's going to be the same amount of money.
Right.
I probably go to the grocery store 5 or 6 times a week.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah, and we'll go to
It's
Trader
pretty
Joe's.
normal for a bodybuilder, right?
bodybuilder,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
pretty normal. They don't understand. Bodybuilders and, you know, the other competitors, it's probably a little bit different. When they're talking about a real bodybuilder that competes.
My significant other, she eats very healthy. You know, I'm the one where I'm not dieting. I'm a normal person. I disconnect myself from everything.
Oh, yeah.
I give myself that break, and I've always done that, because when I get back into it, I look forward to it.
Yeah.
I get that, like, man, this is fun.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
looking in the mirror, you're like, okay, I like to look good. I like to look big. My definition of what I look to look like is not the same for a normal man.
Oh, yeah.
And as my size, especially being 5'9", you know, without dieting, training, cardio, eating whatever I want once or twice a day, I stay at 260 pounds.
Yeah.
It will not break.
It's not bad. Well, you know how to maintain your weight without gaining any fat. And if you're building muscle, you might go up, you know, but it just, you know.
But that's also not working out.
The Big Daddy